in your experience, how does emotional intelligence influence high performance teams, also including pressure situations?
Immensely important. As we see when we look at emotional intelligence, it is about how a leader is interacting with people. So teamwork is about how inspiring the leader can be. What are the kind of words the leader uses to communicate? Communication is a very vital aspect of inspiring people, getting work done from people. And communication is part of your leadership behavior, and that has a direct linkage to emotions. So emotional intelligence is a function of how sensitive the leader is in terms of his or her own emotions, how much I'm able to notice those emotions in me as they rise inside of me. And it is also about how I can notice these emotions in my team. What is my team feeling right now? So if my EQ is low, then I would not only not miss my own emotions, I would also miss the emotions of the other. So I'm actually missing the team. There is no teamwork because I'm not able to sense how my team is reacting or responding to whatever guidance or direction that I am setting there in that team meeting. And hence, when a leader has got high EQ, he's able to notice how the teams are behaving and able to shift his or her communication based on what is required at that moment. I'm not necessarily saying that a leader has to be soft. Imagine a commander, a general in an army fighting a war and middle of the night giving an instruction. That is not going to be a soft meeting. It is a very hard meeting. But the general is noticing the emotions of his soldiers and then inspiring those soldiers to go middle of the night and go win a particular post or whatever. Right? So therefore that becomes important. The other aspect you said is how important it is for team performance. And did you also say that how important it is for dealing with pressure situations?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that's again an interesting question that you asked, because our emotions, we notice the emotions when we call, imagine a graph with a lower horizontal line called the emotional threshold. So in a meeting when I am being challenged, I notice that there is an element of anxiety that I now have. That is when I first notice the emotion. So it has entered the threshold line. Now in the meeting, let's say I'm being hammered by other colleagues as well and other peers. So increasingly that emotion of anxiety can rise to a level at the higher level. Let's say there's another horizontal line called the emotional hijacking line. So when my emotions cross the emotional hijacking line, that is when I flip, or that is when I have an emotional reaction where my logical thinking stops and my emotions take over. So the brain basically has these two components, the rational brain and then the emotional brain. So once the emotional brain takes over, and that can happen in pressure situations. And that is why, like I gave the example of the war, if the general was to flip, he would not be able to give rational decisions to the team. So it's very vital for leaders to recognize that, where my emotions lie, and am I at the, hijacking line. It is quite possible that you and I can get hijacked. We are all human beings. Anybody can get hijacked. But what is important is that this leader who has high EQ recognizes that I am on that line of hijack and then manages to regulate his or her emotions so that, I still take rational decisions. I give the right instructions. I say the right things to inspire the team. So therefore, pressure situations very important. I remember one young sales manager, about 32, very young. But when I ran some assessments and I interacted with him, I could find that his stress management levels were extremely high. On a rating of 10, he was almost sitting at about 9, which is very exceptional for me to see. But as I observed this leader, I found that whether it was a sales review or a client negotiation, he would never lose himself. He would be able to maintain his composure, calmness, and his rational thinking would be always active in those pressure situations. So such people are very promising leaders of the future. And again, in my own experience, I have seen some people are born with it. It comes naturally to them. That demeanor comes naturally to them. But EI or EQ is a learned behavior. So therefore, there is no age for it. IQ, they say, once you reach your adolescence or adulthood, IQ flattens. That's the IQ you are born with. That's the IQ you grew in your first formative years. But EQ, unlike IQ, is a learned behavior. So there's no age bracket for it. You can learn it at any point in time.